The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Is brought to you by All Pro Roofing. AllProRoofingLLC.com on 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
All right, concepts and rationalizations coming your way on this Braves Championship Wednesday, hump day.
Brought to you by a champion and a broken man.
Broken man. I think the other thing really I think the brokenness comes from too the knowledge that this year we were in first place for 103 days, and quite honestly, if we had just done our job, there would not have been any of this Braves nonsense. We could have lost in the playoffs, but you wouldn't have got in as a wild card. So if we had, at what point, what was our record? We were like 10 games over, I think, at one. Let me get it.
The Braves
and so
were
88 won it, right?
Braves were 7.5 back at one point.
Huh?
The Braves were, I believe, 7.5, maybe 8.5 was I think 7.5 was the furthest they went behind.
We were 52 and 43. We were 55 and 46. That's 9. Yeah, 55 and 46 was our highest. Okay, so at
That's
55,
100 games. You got 62 games left, basically.
we got 62 games, and if we get to 88, 65, 75, 85, so that's 33
and 30, basically.
and 30.
Would have done it.
We would have done it. So that's why I think that's the brokenness. That's the brokenness. And at 55 and 46, we actually lost that last game of the series to you guys 6-3. And then we we lost 2 out of 3 to the Natty. Then we lost 3 out of 4 to the Fish. And we got swept by the Phils, and it was on. It was like we were out. We were dead in the water. And we swept Washington, but then became the finishing blow was the LA-San Fran trip where we won, yes, count them, 2 of 13 games.
Yeah, and the Braves, on the other hand, they took not one but 2 West Coast road trips in the month of September, and they fared okay in both of them.
Yeah.
So that helped. But the Braves season
But
really
we lost the first 2 games to the Dodgers in 10 innings. And the Dodgers, I remember at that point, hadn't won an extra inning game all year. We hadn't lost one, something like that. And the Dodgers beat us 6-5 and 2-1, and then they hammered us on Sunday Night Baseball. And then we got San Francisco. We lost 2 more. It was a disaster.
The Braves really turned their season around. They had a 9-game road trip against bad teams.
Yeah, and we
swept them.
Yeah,
they went to Miami, Washington, and Baltimore, and they went 9-0. And they went from like a game or 2 over 500 to 10 or 11 over. They extended that lead up to 4.5 or 5.5. The Phillies made one last run at them while playing that easy schedule while the Braves were out west. Listen, the Braves overcame so much, and I'll give you another one, Dan. When we looked in the middle of August at the way the season played out, the Phillies had the easiest schedule, and the Braves had one of the hardest.
The Phillies, yeah.
And so the gutless, spineless
it was all right there.
Phillies are even more to blame than the Mets, because here's why. Hey, Philly, why don't you take those hundreds of millions of dollars that you've wasted on Rio Muto and Harper and Wheeler and just keep spending it, losers. Keep spending those trillions. You just keep on and tell me how second place tastes, because you're going to be chewing on it for a bunch of years.
Yeah. But that's, so anyway.
And I'll give you one other thing for
news.
One other thing this just all came together. It's never happened to my team, so I don't even know how to digest it all. But I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
They went through, look, the 2 best teams in baseball, inarguably, the last 5 years have been the Dodgers and the Astros. One or both of those teams has been in the World Series every year. I mean, they've been to the playoffs all 5 years. They've won divisions. They've won 100 games. And so not only did the Braves win the World Series, but they went through the 2 best teams of the era to do it.
That is terrific.
Yeah. I thought you thought that too. So
Did. Exactly what I thought. What are we doing here? Is this a 10-minute drill?
It is. So we can talk about all kinds of other things. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
At least you don't have to.
So let's review here. Since we've been doing the drill, Beef got one in 16.
Yeah.
This is true.
You get one in 21.
I mean, even Get Smart John go.
Get Smart John, who claims he's
He's a
diehard
diehard
Washington,
fan of the Nats.
huge Nats fan.
Yeah.
Loves the president race.
Kind of glossed himself in our category. He probably spends,
I think he's talking more of the football team.
Look,
Literally hundreds of hours
watched-
watching those Nats play.
he's watched ones and ones of regular season Nats games.
I think that he
Hey.
was talking more about the football team as far as the passion.
No, I think he meant the Nats.
No, I
He's
don't
got that
think so.
Nats passion.
Some say he's
Yeah,
nuts
but
about
yeah,
the Nats.
to revisit, I like where you're headed here.
Yeah.
Beef got one for the first one in like 100 years.
Yeah.
I've now added one. So what gives over there? Are you close, do you feel like? Will you contend next year? Will you be willing to make another Braves-Mets best record?
I'll never
Dime bet.
I'll never not make that.
Attaboy.
To my dying day, I'll
I like
spin
that.
bleeping wheel.
What would your 4 have been? The College Football Playoff Committee announced the top 4.
Thank God.
How would you have placed them, though?
You're so I hate to do this. I'm not going to scream and yell today, but you're so wrong on your takes with this. It just
No, I'm not.
frustrates me.
You can't be wrong.
Frustrates me to no end.
You can't be wrong on these takes. There's no wrong. It's just they're so nebulous that there's no right or wrong. There's differences. People would do it differently.
It's 2, 6, and 8. It's 2, 6, and 8. Those are the first
6
off.
didn't bother me.
Let me tell you about Oklahoma. Okay,
You think they should be lower or higher?
higher.
Okay.
And there's a few reasons why, but I'll give you one that should strike into your heart. The 06 Gators. That's who they are so far.
Well, they'll make there if they keep doing
the
that.
06 Gators won tons of close games and then kicked the hell out of Ohio State in the Natty.
Well, the only difference is the 06 Gators were playing good competition. The problem with Oklahoma is the bad teams are stressing them. The Tulanes and Kansases. Listen, I'm not
So
worried
we
about
can
Oklahoma.
start there.
If Oklahoma will be in, though, doesn't matter. If they win the rest of they're going to have to win them all. But if they do, they'll be in.
I don't know that.
I do. I think.
Why?
Because they'll be the undefeated Big 12
is it-
champion, Oklahoma
If
Boomer
Alabama
Sooners.
beats Georgia, apparently they're going to be in.
Well, that'd be 2.
Okay, well, then who else?
I think undefeated
You
Oklahoma
don't think a Big Ten team's going to get in ahead of Oklahoma?
I'm not sure. Not if Oklahoma's undefeated.
Well, who's ahead of them right now?
Well, the 2 that you named, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan State. Ohio State, Michigan State, one of them is going to go bye-bye. I think undefeated Oregon might jump a one-loss Oregon. I mean, undefeated Oklahoma might jump a one-loss Oregon.
I don't know that they're going to get in from 8. They might, but I don't know.
It's so early.
The next one is, I would argue, is Cincinnati, who, you have to tell me whether last year counts or doesn't count. Because you always rail against Oklahoma shouldn't get in because they played poorly in the playoffs.
No, that's more of I'm tired of letting Oklahoma in. Don't you see what's going on?
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue it against them this year. That's not fair.
Because the Natty lost to Georgia. The Natty's the only team that's given Georgia a game in the last. They lost by 3 points. So
And Florida was 8-4 and beat Georgia last year. So that you can also use those same comparisons for other arguments. I just don't listen. I'm not saying I'm right.
Yeah.
I don't believe Cincinnati would beat these teams that are ahead of them if they played. And that's all I can go on because there's no other system that allows me to prove it differently. So I think if
The
Cincinnati
system
goes
is
in,
terrible.
they're going to get killed.
yeah,
Now, in fairness, Notre Dame got killed.
Yeah.
Clemson got killed one year. They've all gotten killed at one point.
Yeah.
More than anything, this just
Oregon. What?
Here's the one thing.
They lost to Stanford.
Yeah,
bro.
but here's what they have. You tell me if you disagree with this. I'll give Tony Kornheiser credit, who I don't think is this great sports mind anymore, but I thought he said something very true yesterday. Oregon has the most impressive win of the college football season. They have the best win of the year. They went to Ohio State on the road and won.
I don't dispute that, but so we don't penalize them for losing to Stanford? Oklahoma should be ahead of Oregon. Oklahoma's conference is better than Oregon is playing Pac-12 football, bro. They stink. And by the way, they've had some close ones.
I'm not on the wall for Oregon. They have but they do
I
have.
wish that's the most.
But here's why.
That's the most shocking one to
but
me.
Here's
bro.
why. But here, I guess this would be the other argument again because we're having to do this just.
And I know they can't
subjectively.
put Ohio. I know they want to put Ohio State there so desperately.
Well, they know
but
that.
we're like, oh God, we can't.
Well,
we just can't.
I really think the way it's headed now,
as soon as Michigan State loses, we'll get them in the top.
it could be. It'll be Alabama, Michigan State, Oregon, and Ohio State, I believe.
For the three
Alabama,
other ones.
Georgia, Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon.
That's what you're saying.
If they win out, I think if everyone wins out, I
so
think
you
that's
put in Oregon over Oklahoma.
I think so.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Oklahoma doesn't have a win. They haven't beaten anybody. Oregon won at Ohio State. That's the best win
Oregon
of the year.
lost too.
I know.
Can't put them in. Not against the undefeated team that plays tougher competition week in and week out. You can't.
Yeah.
Now, Oklahoma looks like they're going to lose a game, but
I
all
think
of a sudden,
they will. Yeah, I think they will, too.
You know, I mean,
that's another thing, too.
What
But
about
again,
Oklahoma State? Are they no good?
Well, they've got a loss.
Well, they're 11th.
Yeah.
Well, Oklahoma plays them.
Right.
But you're telling me that you'd still take Oregon over Oklahoma, undefeated Oklahoma. No way.
Well, again, it's got to all play out. I don't know. I could change my mind, too. I'm just saying right now I think Oregon's better than Oklahoma.
Yeah. I just know if I'm 9-0 and I'm Oklahoma, I'm
It's so funny how we treat this is to me interesting. We treat college football different than any other sport. There's not other sport. In the NFL, we never go by this team has this many losses, they're not as good as that one, or this team lost to that team, they're not as good, or this team only beat that team, they're not as good. Right. College football is like the only one that we measure that way.
Well, we got to get a playoff. I mean,
we do. It's coming. All right? Probably sooner rather than later, whether it's 8 or 12.
I mean, I would ask you, who is Michigan? With all due respect, I'm happy for Michigan State and Sparty. I like them. I like them being up there. But who have they beaten?
Didn't I hear they've beaten 5 ranked teams?
Well, Miami was ranked when they played them.
Again, all you can do is what they are when you play them. I mean, Alabama and Georgia's best wins are over Florida.
Was Northwestern ranked when they played them?
No, I don't think so.
Was Youngstown State ranked when they played them?
In some poll.
Was Nebraska ranked when they played them? Was Western Kentucky ranked when they played them? Was Rutgers ranked when they played them? Was Indiana ranked?
Yes.
No.
Was that the opener?
No. It was 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. So Michigan's only 2. Maybe it's do they have 5 road wins? Is that what it is?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. They were throwing around the number 3 and 5. That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah.
I hadn't followed Michigan. I don't believe Michigan State. Michigan State will lose to Ohio State or
I'm excited for Michigan.
Penn State.
I'm rooting for Michigan State.
Yeah,
I'm
Mel
just
Tucker,
saying.
the whole thing. I get it.
You can't sit there and.
Here's what will happen, though. This argument can be a blood battle in 5 weeks. It's just silly to get too worked up about it now.
I agree.
This is just a gauge on who they think are the best 4 teams.
Yeah, but I just
they're using their formulas, their schedule strength, the strength of record, things that put real numerical value on these opponents and not traditional or what we think of certain programs.
Yeah.
But like I said, look, if you want to argue, you can use the same argument. Alabama and Georgia both have listed as their best win a win over Florida. It's not like they're beating the best teams in the world either, right?
Yeah. Also fair.
Yeah.
I mean, which, by the way, is not that impressive.
Exactly.
At all.
It was more impressive for Alabama at the time than it seems for Georgia now.
Yeah, plus it was in the swamp.
Yeah.
I
don't think Alabama's beating Georgia, so they're probably going to be out too.
Yeah, we'll see.
Now, I don't know. I'm not going to guarantee because Alabama's a big boy.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Again, going by your logic, a 2-loss Alabama team would be favored over Cincinnati.
They would beat Cincinnati, but that'll preclude them from getting in.
Okay, so
they won't put in 2-loss Alabama over Cincinnati. If they had guts, they would. Do you think that Cincinnati would beat Alabama?
No.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing else you can go by.
I go by who deserves it.
Yeah, but
I don't go by who's the best.
I know you get tired of me using this metaphor, but you cannot compare what Cincinnati's doing to get to the end of the year. If I firmly believe, and it can't be proven, that if they were playing the schedule of these other teams, they would not be undefeated.
I firmly believe that not necessarily
if Florida played
Michigan State or Oregon or Michigan played Cincinnati's schedule. I don't know that Michigan would have went into Notre Dame and won, or Michigan State would have went into Notre Dame and won. I don't know that.
Yeah.
And you say, well, Cincinnati's...
It's week after week, though, Dan. It's the fact that in those leagues, if you're not careful, a mid-level team, if you're not focused, will get you. In Cincinnati's league, if you're not focused, they'll scare you. They won't beat. Tulane ain't beating you. Purdue will.
Tulane almost beat Oklahoma.
But they didn't. Temple's not beating you. Yeah. Wisconsin will. And if you were in the Big Ten and they were having to play Purdue, Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Iowa, they'd be losing games, man.
I like Luke Fickell. Who is the committee chairman? He asked on his radio show. Gary Barta. Did he play football? All right, we got the 8 o'clock hour.
I can't wait until I'm looking forward to the playoff, including these teams, and then maybe you can get an accurate gauge because basing it all on these bowl games where the power is, half interested.
Beef, let's take it easy and do caller number 3 right now at 641-1010 and tell them
I like it.
tell them that they don't have to take too long of a run.
Caller number 3 right now, 641-1010. Going to go home with a pair of tickets to Classic Albums Live coming up on November 20th. That's Saturday night at the Florida Theater, doing the music of the Eagles. Caller 3 right now, 641-1010.